and under the bed, pulling itself together with such magnetic malevolence that I couldn't keep my mind away from it. Without benefit of maturity or therapy, I had no way of knowing that the darkness was as much inside me as it was outside me, or that I had any power to affect its hold on me. No one had ever taught me to talk back to the dark, or even to breathe into it. The idea that it might be friendly was absurd. The only strategy I had ever been taught for dealing with my fear of the dark was to turn on the lights and yell for help. Even then, when my parents came back to ask what I was afraid of, they took my answers at face value. "There are no monsters under your bed," they assured me, getting down on their knees to look. "There are no witches in your closet," they said, opening the door to show me, as if scientific proof would make a bit of difference once they had turned out the lights and left the room again. Since I'm only 5 years old in this memory, there's no telling what I might have said if they had asked me what color the monster's eyes were, or what the witches were planning to do to me. If they had, I might have learned to become more curious about what the darkness inside me was dishing up. I might have learned to look more deeply instead of looking away. But one thing my parents and I shared was the wish for a quick fix. They wanted to get back to whatever they were doing in the living room, and I wanted to stop being afraid. So we settled on a solution that worked for both of us. Eliminate the darkness. Leave a light on in my room at night so that it was never dark. You would have to ask an anthropologist how well this childhood history matches the history of the human race. But when I look around the world today, it seems clear that eliminating darkness is pretty high on the human agenda. Not just physical darkness, but also metaphysical darkness, which includes psychological, emotional, relational, and spiritual darkness. What do I mean by darkness? I guess that depends on what color your monster's eyes are. Most people don't know what they mean by darkness, except that they want to stay out of it. Just say the word, and the associations begin to flow. Night, nightmare, ghost, graveyard, cave, bat, vampire, death, devil, evil, criminal, danger, doubt, depression, loss, fear. Fear is the main thing. Almost everyone is afraid of being afraid. Beyond that, no one's list is exactly like anyone else's. It fits the way a shadow fits, because darkness is sticky. It attracts meaning like a magnet, picking up everything in its vicinity that isn't fully lit. If you decide to read the rest of this book, you'll learn plenty about what darkness means to me. For now, it's enough to say that darkness is shorthand for anything that scares me, that I want no part of, either because I'm sure that I don't have the resources to survive it, or because I don't want to find out. The absence of God is in there, along with the fear of dementia and the loss of those nearest and dearest to me. So is the melting of polar ice caps, the suffering of children, and the nagging question of what it will feel like to die. If I had my way, I would eliminate everything from chronic back pain to the fear of the devil from my life and the lives of those I love, if I could just find the right night lights to leave on. At least I think I would. The problem is this. When, despite all my best efforts, the lights have gone off in my life, literally or figuratively, take your pick, plunging me into the kind of darkness that turns my knees to water, nonetheless, I've not died. The monsters haven't dragged me out of bed and taken me back to their lair. The witches have not turned me into a bat. Instead, I have learned things in the dark that I could never have learned in the light. Things that have saved my life over and over again, so that there's really only one logical conclusion. I need darkness as much as I need light. The problem is that there are so few people who can teach me about that. Most of the books on the New York Times how-to bestseller list are about how to avoid various kinds of darkness. If you want to learn how to be happy and stay that way, how to win out over your adversaries at work, or how to avoid aging by eating the right foods, there is a book for you. If you're not a reader,